Welcome to My National Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to My National Podcast. Today is Tuesday. Oh my goodness gracious. We're going to be starting off the week pretty hot. And if you know what I mean, we are going to be starting off with Love is Blind UK Season 3. Oh, baby. This one, I ain't gonna lie, I waited and I let this one cook, okay? We were kind of like, I was a little late when it came to the ultimatum, you know what I mean? But I still covered it for you guys. You guys absolutely enjoyed the full breakdown of the ultimatum. But this one I'm enjoying. Why? Because this episode will come out before the weddings do. And boy, am I excited to talk to you guys about this before the weddings, because oh man, I really want to know you guys' thoughts down in the comments on who do you think is going to get married, all that good stuff. We're going to skip the pods and we're going to go kind of straight into like the couples, just so that way this episode is not like massively long or anything like that. Just because I think the meat and potatoes of this is really the couples. I won't lie to you. I do think the meat and potatoes of this season has really been the couples. We got a lot of good couples and we got a lot of really bad couples. So we're going to just jump right on into it, man. Obviously, I'm not going to hold you guys too much. But, okay. We have Sophie and Taylor. Okay, so Sophie and Taylor are probably the only couple I'm rooting for. Okay, they're the only couple I'm like, yo, I hope they get married. I am actually rooting for them. They didn't really have too many issues. They didn't really have too much going on. I think they're just two people that are really in this experiment for what the experiment is actually made for. And that is for two people to find love and, you know, get married and be with each other. I really do think that there's not really going to be too much that's going to stop them from getting married at the end of this. Like, I can see both of them saying yes, just for the simple fact that they get along with each other. They're very open to each other's wants and needs, and they're able to kind of really communicate effectively. They are really just kind of enjoying the process, enjoying each other and getting to know each other, and just, you know, I just don't see anything wrong with them. I really didn't. I was rooting for them ever since the pods. I won't lie to you. I really was. I was rooting for them ever since the pods. Sophie does seem like she might have a little bit of trust issues. She might have a little bit of issues kind of like getting herself all the way. And I only say that just because she did share in the pods that, you know, she was in a relationship for a very long time. She was young, and, you know, she looked at it like, you know, I've always had the idea of getting married young and having kids and all this kind of stuff. And so, you know, with her kind of going through that, it might create a hurdle for her. But I don't know. I really don't see that playing a factor, just because Taylor has done a really good job with just being a good guy. Let's be real. I just think he, you know, like, don't get me wrong, he has his faults too, like the whole tattoo of, you know, random people's names on his butt. Like that's kind of crazy. That's kind of weird. I don't even know how that was brought up, why that was brought up. You know what I mean? Obviously she was asking about his tattoos, and then he was like, yeah, that, you know, she was like, do you regret any? And he was like, well, I regret this one, you know, the names on the butt. And then she was kind of mad at that. But again, I don't think that's anything that's going to make or break their relationship. I just don't. I don't see it making or breaking their relationship. But yeah, I think they have a lot going for themselves, and I'm very happy for them. I really am. I want to know what you guys think about Sophie and Taylor down in the comments, though. Okay. Oh God, we have Ciara and AJ or Clara or whatever the fuck her name is, dude. This girl's a nightmare, okay? This girl's a fucking nightmare. She cannot stop, like, instigating drama, bro. Okay, look, I was for the drama when Jake Right? Is that his fucking name? Jake? Jack. Jack is his name. I don't remember this fucking dude's name. I was for the drama, okay? When Jack was like, oh, I'm going to write you something, yada, yada. He does it, and then he reads what he wrote for her to Faye, okay? I was like, oh, bruh, what are you doing, my guy? What are you doing? And I was wondering if she was going to blow up the spot and tell the other girls or even tell Faye that, hey, he said he was going to write something for me, and then he ends up, saying what he wrote for me to Faye. That's fucked up. That's weird. Blah, blah, blah. And she did. And I was for it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, yeah, you fucked up, bro. You fucked up big time. And then the idea of her being like, oh, he's disingenuous, this and that, blah, blah, blah. It was just one of those things where she would not fucking let it go. Like, I feel like you got your moment. You got your moment. You caught him in a lie. You know what I mean? I think this is what was going on, though, is she couldn't stand the fact that, for one, he called her boring. Okay, that was a big thing. He called her boring, and she couldn't stand that because nobody's ever told her no, and nobody's ever, told her about herself, and you know what I mean? She's got a whole host of problems. Two, I think she looked at it like, why in the hell is Faye making, being with him and he's happy? Because I guarantee you she didn't want him to be happy. Oh, hell no. She did not want him. It like, you could tell it got under her skin that Jack was happy. Jack is walking around having a good time. He's like, my baby girl, what's up? Oh, I love you. Da-da-da-da. And that just boiled her fucking skin, bro. She hated the idea of seeing Jack happy. And then you have the last one where, since I guess, her talking to Faye and being like, hey, he said he was going to write a note to me, and then he read what he wrote about me to you, and blah, blah, blah. It just seems disingenuous, blah, blah, blah. Faye still goes with Jack. They get engaged, all that stuff. I think that rubbed her the wrong way. And so she looked at it like, well, since I'm vigilante of the women, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start fucking up Joseph's relationships too. And I'm like, bro, hold up. Whoa. What the fuck, bro? Why are you trying to get in everybody's business? You are up everybody's asshole so much that you're not even paying attention to AJ. You're not even paying attention to your own guy. You know what I mean? And AJ, look, let's be real, bro. AJ is one of those guys where he is a pretty broke boy. I'm sorry to say it, bro, but he's a pretty broke boy. He's one of those guys that he makes it sound good. Oh yeah, I was a basketball player, and I was a banker in finance, and I did my thing. Oh yeah, I would take you to F1 on a first date, yada yada yada, this and this, and then his reality doesn't match what it is that he's like trying to say. And a lot of dudes that do this, you know what I mean? A lot of dudes like him, they're tall, they're good looking, they're able to kind of keep women and get women off of just that. Because let's be real, a lot of women will put up with a lot of bullshit if the dude's tall enough and he's attractive enough. And if he has both, they're going to put up with a lot of bullshit. You know what I mean? And when they had the conversation about it, and I was talking to my mom about this, me and my mom love fucking Love is Blind. We watch it religiously. We love it. And we like to talk about it. When they had the conversation where she was like, so, like, what does your financial situation look like? Like, are you building something? Are you doing something? Like, are you on your way to it? Whatever the case may be. And he's like, oh, well, I'm just starting it. I'm starting it out and this and that. You know what I mean? Like, so, but I can always go back to banking if I need to. And she's like, well, what is it that you want to do? And my mom, like when I talked to her about it, she made it seem like he was doing something, I don't know, like not special, but he was doing something, very out of the way. But then when I watch it, he's like, oh yeah, I want to do a fitness studio. And I'm like, nigga, really? A fitness studio? Come on, bro. Like, what in the fuck? The thing about brick and mortar businesses in 2026 and nowadays is that they only really survive off of the recognition of their brand. You know what I mean? So what this is kind of telling me is that he went on to Love is Blind to become an internet personality, and then from that internet personality be able to push his fitness studio. Now, does that fit Kira in there? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to do this whole like, yeah, we're a married couple kind of thing and we're doing this, or if he's just kind of on there because he looks at it like, I want to kind of, be an internet celebrity so that way I can then push my fitness studio. That's kind of what's telling me that. And I don't know, like, I don't want him to be that kind of guy, but that's just the pathing of a lot of people. And then this is, men and women. It's not just guys, it's not just girls, but there have been at least one or at least two people that go on to Love is Blind simply to just get a blue check mark, to get notoriety, to be famous, to be whatever. They don't really care about the process. They don't really care about the person they're with. They don't really care about, what's going on in the show. They're just going to make themselves look like they're a decent person, and that the choices that they had to make were really, really tough, and it was so hard on them, and they garner all this sympathy and all of this praise. Oh, it was so hard for you and you made a decision, and I'm so glad that you chose for yourself and this and that. And I feel like that's just what he's doing. I really thought he was there for love and he was there for the thing. I really, really did. But the moment he was talking about a fitness studio, I was just like, all right, bro. And then you haven't started anything. You don't have anything going. And then she's over here capping, talking about, as long as you have drive and as long as you have ambition and as long as, you have a plan and you're doing something, that to me is hot.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
And the reason why I say she's lying is because you are talking about, I have a $300 minimum or 300 pound minimum on a first date. I had a guy spend $15,000 on me on a date. Like, if he would, if he wants to, he will, and all this bullshit. Like, she's talking about, this is how she talks about her finances. She talks about her finances like, I work so that way I can buy myself nice things. I work so that way I can buy myself things and buy myself my hair and nails and my makeup and all this kind of stuff. Never once did she sit there and say, I work so that way you and me can have nice things, so we can have a great life, so we can do things. No. She looks at it like your money is our money and my money is my money. Like, she don't give a fuck about this. She doesn't care about ambition. She does not care about potential and all this. No, bruh. Like, she wants a guy who has it already. She wants a guy who is there already. And I think it's a thing where she may have talked herself into believing that he does have it, he could just go into finance and it'll be totally fine and he'll be making all this money and it'll be fantastic. And I guarantee you, bro's gonna go into finance. He's probably gonna go in as an entry level job. Like, sure, yeah, he'll be able to get in through the door through connections and stuff like that, but you're not gonna get an executive position right off the bat. You're not gonna get some 6-figure salary right off the bat, bro. You know what I mean? You may get 60, 70, maybe 80,000 a year, and that may be great. But again, I don't think that's gonna be enough for her lifestyle. Why? Because she's over here talking about, we can get a 4 or 5 bedroom house and then we can renovate the fuck out of it with these ceilings and these outer things and Victorian this and all that. And I'm just like, bro, good luck. Good luck. That's all I gotta say to you, bro, is good luck, because this girl is gonna be a lot. And I think he notices that, and he does know that. And it's like, I get it. You want to be able to give her those things. You want to be able to, have her in that lifestyle. I get that. I really do. But honestly, bro, you're just not there. Let's be real. You're just not there yet. And will he be there? I'm sure. I have no doubt that AJ will get there and, be able to be that guy. But the thing is she going to be able to understand that you need to step away from her in order to achieve those goals? Because throughout their entire relationship, all it was me, 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 me. Oh, you can give me a massage. Oh, you're going to make my coffee right here. Oh, I'm going to be right there doing nothing. And then you're just going to be over here doing all this stuff and everything. And you're going to cook and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Like, bro, I'm telling you, just listen to her talk, bro. Listen to her talk. She tells on herself. And it's crazy because she wonders why niggas cheated on her. I'm like, bitch, it ain't a surprise. You're useless. You're fucking useless. I can see why these niggas cheated on you, bro. Because for one, you're insufferable. Two, you're an absolute diva. You know what I mean? You have to have all the drama and all the this and that. And you just like to set people up against each other and then watch them just fight each other. It's crazy to me, bro. Like, no, man, I'm sorry, AJ, but... oh, dude. Look, my thing is when it comes to the marriage, okay? My marriage prediction for them is he's going to say yes, she's going to say no. He's going to say yes just for the simple fact that he looks at it like, hey, man, she's hot. I'm going to be there. I'll be able to take care of her. I know I'll be able to do this. He's got high hopes for himself, which is great. She's not going to do it because she's going to look at it like, if I'm being honest with you, bro, you're not where I would like you to be. I don't think you could be able to give me the lifestyle that I'm looking for. I think she's just going to come up with a lot of excuses. She's going to come up with 1,000,001 ways of the reasons why she can't really take it all the way with him. Now, if this is a boyfriend-girlfriend situation, yeah, I could see Kira staying with AJ all day long. I can see them, 4 or 5 years, 6 years being together, 1,000%. But we're talking about marriage here, people. We're talking about marriage here, all right? And so the thing is Sierra's not going to get into a marriage with a guy where if she decides to divorce the dude, she's not going to get shit. And that's what she's looking at with him. This nigga ain't got nothing to his name. So she looks at it like, bro, if I want to divorce you in 2 years because, you really haven't got where I wanted you to be and the shot clock is up, I'm not getting anything out of this. So why am I going to even put myself in this position in the first place? And look, I get it. You're probably sitting there thinking like, oh, that's terrible to think. Like, she's not thinking that way. And that's crazy that you wouldn't even think that she's thinking that way. But it's like, you have to understand that if you listen to Kira speak, all right, just listen to her talk, bro. All she cares about is a man with money. That is it, bro. She has dated nothing but men with money, men of affluence, men of status. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with her dating men of status and doing all these kind of things. I see nothing wrong with that. But the thing is you got to understand when those women date men who have wealth versus a man who is still acquiring wealth, she's not going to wait long. Let's just be honest. She's not going to wait long. And so, again, I don't think that this is going to be a decision that she's going to make. I think she's going to look at it like, I do care about him. I do love him. I think he's a great guy, but I don't love him enough to marry him. I love him enough to be with him and care for him and and give him that, but to marriage, nah, I don't think I love him enough to give him that. And I think that's just where they're going to be. I think he's going to say yes, she's going to say no. But I don't know. This is just my prediction. Okay, Cuba and Ryan. Oh man, these are probably two of the most fakest people I've ever seen on Love is Blind, bro. I'm sorry to say it. They are just two of the fakest, performativest people I've ever seen on Love is Blind. It is insane to me how performative they are, bro. Like, look, I get being spiritual, I get, wanting to connect with inner self and all this kind of stuff, but I think they're really just turning it up to 11 on this show. I really do. It is just ridiculous. And it's crazy because when you see them in the pods and then you see them on their honeymoon and then you see them in the apartment, they are completely different people through each different stage. In the beginning, they're more of just like, oh yeah, we're nomadic and we want to, go around and do our thing and this and that. And I like to travel and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then you get on to the honeymoon and she don't even want to touch this nigga. She don't even want to be intimate with him, like she'll kiss him, but she's kind of still hesitant. She's still like, I don't know, you know what I mean? And then they're doing all that. She's got to do all of these like super spiritual dances and sound baths and all this other bullshit. I'm just like, you guys are just extremely performative, bro. It's insane to me how performative you guys are. And then they get into the apartment, and it's like they're fucking strangers. It's like they're fucking strangers, dude. I mean, look, I get it. Ryan looks at it like, oh yeah, I travel, and then when I come back, I need decompression time. But it's like, bro, it doesn't seem like you want to spend any time with her, bro. And what I'm thinking it is Ryan has gotten to a point where he's like, I'm not gonna fuck, so why am I putting my time and energy into a girl that doesn't want to fuck? Like, let's be real, bro. Let's be real. I truly believe that that's where his mindset is at, because she's like, oh, I want to take it slow, and I still need to connect your spirit with your body and your physical and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And for him, he's just like, bitch, my dick is hard right now. Like, what are we talking about? Like, bro, you're going to sit here and tell me that you love me and that you want to be with me and all this and all that. And, we're having little sex talks and this and that in the pods. And all of a sudden you want to take things slow? What? Bruh. And she's not, an unattractive girl by any means. She's very beautiful. And so I would feel the same way. I would be Ryan as well. I'd be seeing her thinking like, damn, I can't wait to put my dick in that. But see, what I think it is a lot of girls that are very like spiritual, and Cuba kind of let it slip. A lot of girls that are very like spiritual and they're very, let's say, open and stuff like that. A lot of these women tend to be pansexual, whether they may be pansexual like they were before or they are now, or, whatever it may be. And that's kind of the reason why she was just like, oh yeah, I've had like so many like physical connections. I even have physical connections with my friends and all this kind of stuff. And to me, I was just like, oh, okay. Okay, so she was out here just fucking. She was just fucking. She's a reformed, let's say she was very reformed, sexually open person. I don't want to call her a whore or a hoe or anything like that. Look, if you want to call her that, that's fine. I wouldn't disagree, but my thing is I think she kind of used to do a lot of that, and she used to be very openly sexual and pansexual, and she had sex with women and men and orgies and threesomes and all this kind of stuff, because you got to understand that these spiritual people, a lot of spiritual people don't really look at the physical body and the physical act of sex as like as heavy as us normal people, I guess you would say, do. We look at sex as like a physical connection and an intimate moment. But for spiritual people, they look at it like, oh man, if my energy's good and your energy's good, let's just mash our energy together. And how do we do that? We do that through sex. And so they look at it as an energy exchange. They don't really look at it as a, intimate connection. They don't really look at it as it's meaningful or anything like that. They look at it like it's just two energies, coming together and colliding together and this and that. And so I guarantee you that was the type of woman that she was. And so she kind of has, I'm sure, a little bit of trauma when it comes to sex. And I think that's why she's holding off. being physically intimate with him. And I think that just frustrates the fuck out of him. I think he's not getting it. He's not understanding it. He's just like, what the fuck? Like, my energy matches your energy. Why aren't our energies just like fucking banging it out? Like, what are we doing here? So I think for him, he's just frustrated. I think he's just sexually frustrated, and he doesn't want to say that. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to come off as a jerk. He doesn't want to come off as an asshole. He doesn't want to come off as, you know, I don't know, overly sexually weird or whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call it. I just think he doesn't want to come off as too much and push her away, when in reality, my man is sexually frustrated. He is sexually frustrated. I guarantee you this is a situation where my man's is just like, I was hoping to get me some coochie and I'm just not getting it because she wants to take it slow and she wants to do this and she wants to do that. And you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the reason why he comes home and he's just like, oh yeah, you know, I need to like decompress for like a couple days. And oh yeah, I need to, because at this point he's just like, bro, I know I'm not getting any pussy, so I just don't really care. You know, I guarantee you if she was giving him some pussy, oh, please, he'd be dying to come home. He'd be dying to come home after these speeches, bro. Why? Because he'd be like, I can't wait to get back home to you, babe. You know, I'm about to tear you up. You know what I mean? But since he kind of knows he ain't really getting some booty, he's just like, yeah, I'm on my way home. You know, I'm gonna need some time to decompress and this and that. And so, and don't get me wrong, she's a great woman as far as being understanding, and you know, she's very mature and realizing like, hey, he's not leaving me alone because, you know, he doesn't love me or doesn't care about me. He's leaving me alone for the simple fact that, you know, he has to make money. This is his job. This is what he does. This is what I signed up for. You know, this is the man I chose. So I need to kind of deal with it. Like, if I want a great guy, this is what comes with it. So I think she's smart in that area. I just think the simple fact that because homeboy ain't getting some sex, he's just frustrated, man. He's just frustrated with it. He can't take it anymore. All right. On to our next one. Faye and Jack. Oh, God. Probably one of the worst relationships ever. I'm sorry. Cuba and Ryan. I think they're both going to say no. Okay, I think they're both going to say no because I don't think Cuba feels she's getting what she needs out of this relationship, and Ryan really ain't getting what he needs. Let's just be real. He might say yes just on the fact that like, you know, we get married, then we can have sex, and that's the only missing piece of our relationship. So it's like we get married, then we have sex, and then it'll kind of complete the pie. That might be his logical mind. I'm not 100% sure. He hasn't really voiced any other concerns about Cuba that kind of makes him iffy about her. You know, he just feels like she's lacking in that physical intimacy department, and that's just kind of what's making him pull away. But Cuba looks at it just like, I haven't had enough time to really get to know him. You know, he's away a lot. I don't know if I can do this or if this is something that I want for myself. So again, I think they're both going to say no just because of the simple fact that there's going to be a lot that is going to teeter back and forth between them. I'd be surprised if they do say yes, but I at this moment, I do think they're going to say no. All right. Okay. So back to Jack and Faye. Oh, Lord. Look, bro. Jack is one of those guys. Okay. Jack is one of those guys where he's a party guy. You know what I mean? He's a party guy. He's the fun, outgoing, outspoken. You know, you can have a beer with this kind of guy. He's him. Okay. He's that outgoing guy. And a lot of women fall for these types of guys because even Kira fell for him and his outgoing ways and just who he was and stuff like that. But I think Kira started to realize who he really is, and who Jack really is he's the type of guy that's great in the short term. Okay. He's a guy that's very, very great to, you know, have fun with and be with and, you know, maybe have a one night stand with or whatever. But then after that, there's just nothing left of the guy. He's as deep as a puddle. I'm sorry to say it, but my guy is deep as a puddle. He's very shallow. He's very vain. He's the type of guy that doesn't really matter. He doesn't really care, you know, one way or the other. He looks at it like my priority is to have fun, and that's really it. I do really think they kind of overplayed, his job title. Like, I don't think he's like a chef like that. I think he kind of is a chef, sure, but he's probably working at like a mid-tier restaurant or something like that. Bro, where he lives, look up where he lives. Look up Cornwall and you tell me what a chef does in Cornwall. Okay? There aren't any 5-star restaurants in Cornwall. Let's be real. All right, come on now. This dude's a chef of like a mid-level restaurant, something similar to like a Chili's or like a, Texas Roadhouse or like a BJ's, something like that. He's a chef of something like that. So again, it's like, bro, it's one of these things where he's that guy that just, he's great for the moment and that's it. And look, I love Faye, but she's so desperate. Okay, and I think everybody can see it. She's mad desperate. She hasn't been in a relationship in over 10 years. Even in the like eyes of red flags, she sat there and called him Amber. Okay, like Kira literally sat there and was just like, bro is being disingenuous. He's telling me one thing and then, telling you another thing. Like, bro is just he's just saying what he has to say to get a girl. Like, clearly Kira was Jack's number one. And then he just defaulted to Faye and being like, no, bro. Like, Faye's always been my number one. It's always been you and I've always loved you and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, bro, I'm sorry to say it. You knew that Kira didn't want you because you kept mixing the girls up. And the only girl that fucking caught you was Kira. She was the only one that fucking caught you, bro. Because, okay, you got to realize, and I'm telling you, if you missed this, watch it back, please. Watch it back and pay attention to Jack. He mixes up details between the girls. I didn't figure this out until the whole sourdough bread thing, okay? Faye and Jack have a conversation. And they talk about like what their lives would be like together and stuff like that. And, Faye was talking about, I love to make homemade bread and I love to, be just kind of like at home and we're just doing stuff together and so on and so forth and yada, yada, yada. Then you fast forward and Jack has a conversation with Kira and he's like, yeah, like, yeah, that's right, you're a vegan, you don't like cheese, but like imagine this, like some fresh baked sourdough bread and mozzarella, and Kira's just like, bro, really, nigga, bro, I don't like cheese, nigga, what are we talking about? But the reason he said that was because Faye I'm sure likes cheese. Faye was the one that mentioned bread, and I'm sure he just kind of changed it over to sourdough bread. But again, it's just one of those things where it's like he was kind of mixing things up the entire time. I didn't catch it until that moment, but then I kind of went back and was like, oh shit, this nigga's been mixing shit up all day. Oh my god. And then he calls Faye Fran, you know what I mean? Because I guess apparently he was talking to Joseph about Francesca right before their date. And so, he had Fran on the brain. And I'm just like, nigga. So again, it was one of those things where it was like, he's the type of guy where, for one, he's that fun in the moment, great in the moment guy. Two, he's the type of guy where, he will say and do anything he can and say anything that he needs to get the girl. And that just kind of puts Jack in that simple position where it's the reason why you see him act one way and then he acts another way. And then he wants to sit there and be a bitch and blame ADHD. And that's crazy to me. Like, bro, if you're going to be a man, be a fucking man and own up to what it is that you're doing. Don't sit there and blame ADHD because you wanted to go out on a walk and do some shady shit. Let's be real, bro. I think everybody that watched that scene knew he was out doing some fuck shit. Okay? For one, you don't walk in your slides. Two, you were telling all the guys and you were so proud, like, oh yeah, she has my location, bro. Like, she can find me anywhere she wants. Like, she can go, she can do whatever, this and that, And so he was so proud that she had the location, that she could go through his phone, that, he was solid with her, this and that. And then all of a sudden this happens and he's like, oh, babe, you got to realize, I like to decompress all. You got to realize that, I like to to do this and do that. And oh, babe, you got to realize that, I'm a fuck up and I'm from little tiny Cornwall and, I'm weird and this and that. And it's just like, bro, miss me with all that fucking inability to take accountability, bro. Like, bro, it's crazy to me. You're acting like a bitch, Jack. You're acting like a bitch, bro. And what you need to do is say, you know what? This is what happened. This is what I did. It is what it is. Like, bro, it took his parents. It was either his parents or her parents, one of the two. I don't remember off the top of my head, but one of the parents were there, and I think it was her parents, but I don't remember. But, they had a conversation, and even the mom was just like, in slides? What? Who the fuck goes out on a walk in slides? Like 6 a.m. walk? Sure, that's fine. People do that all the time. That can be a normal coincidence. Sure, whatever. But in slides, though, nigga, the fact that you're in slides tells me you were in somebody's house. You know what I mean? You were in somebody's house, bro. And look, if it was your homie's house, cool. You know what I mean? If it was a female friend's house, that's something you got to be open with. Like, I just think that he was doing some fuck shit. He was doing some shit he wasn't supposed to be doing, and he didn't want to tell her. And, I can't wait until something about that comes out because, whoo, when it does, bro, oh my God, that boy's going to be cooked. But we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Like I said, when it comes to this situation, though, I think they're both going to say yes, just for the simple fact that, Jack absolutely loves Faye. I think Jack looks at it like, bro, I'm never going to date another girl as hot as her. And then you have Faye where she's just so fucking blind to it all, bro. That girl is Ray Charles. I get it. She hasn't been in a relationship in over 10 years. Somebody's finally saying I love you to her. Somebody's finally, giving her the great relationship that she's always wanted and this and that. And look, I get it. I do. But baby girl, you got to look out for yourself sometimes, and I just feel like she's not doing that. And I think everybody else can see that as well. I'm not over here, speaking rocket science. I'm really not. If you watch it, you yourself at home listening to this would probably agree with me. Like, yeah, bro, she's been taking L after L with this guy. And, I kind of called it the moment she sat there and was like, oh, yeah, it's just an amber flag. I'll figure it out. And then homie, gives her this fucking sob story in the pods. And she's like, no, I believe you. It's fine. And I'm just like, okay, dude, this is why dudes walk all over you. This is why dudes treat you shitty, because you believe their bullshit. You let them lie to your face and you're like, okay, all right, I'll believe you. And then you wonder why they act shitty to you. Come on, girl. What are we doing? So I think they're just going to say yes because they're just two desperate individuals. Let's just be real. I'm sorry to say it, but they just are. Look, I love Faye. I think, the world of the girl. She's gorgeous. She's a great one. She has a great personality. I just think that she's so, easily manipulatable. You know what I mean? It's what makes these guys, really shitty. It's what makes her choice in men really shitty, but it is what it is. You guys let me know what you think about that one. Okay, we're going to go on to our next couple. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. Yasmin and Jordan. Look, I loved Yasmin and Jordan in the beginning. Okay? In the beginning, I loved Yasmin and Jordan. They were probably my second favorite couple, just for the simple fact that they got along so well. Jordan seemed to be that really leadership quality type guy. I think Jordan, with her lack of experience in relationships, she really saw that and was like, wow, he can really take the lead. And, he can really show me that, what a good relationship is supposed to be and what's supposed to look like and what I'm supposed to experience in a relationship, in a marriage and all that stuff. And it all just fell flat. Oh my God, this dude failed on every metric possible. Look, I'm not going to sit here and blame Yasmin for anything that has gone wrong in this relationship. Why? Because she don't know better. She doesn't know better. Okay, she doesn't have experience or recollection to go off of. She doesn't have experience, but Jordan does. Jordan does. And it's like the fact that you have experience, you know what a good relationship should be, you know what good communication should be, you know what I mean? Your mama taught you right, bro. You were on the phone with your mama, and your mama's like, hey, you need to be serious with her and stop hiding behind distance as the reason why you don't want, this relationship to continue. Let's be fucking real. So look, this is where I think Jordan failed. In the beginning, he kept stepping back from, Yasmin, kept stepping back from when Yasmin, was like, whenever she would get uncomfortable, okay, like they would obviously be doing something new. They're living together. She's never done that before. Obviously, they're sleeping in the same bed together. That's obviously something different. They're waking up together. That's obviously something different. They're dealing with each other's day to day. That's obviously something different. Cleaning up after each other. You know what I mean? Seeing each other's living habits and all these kind of things. All of this is just a nuclear bomb for her. And see, this is where he should have taken his experience in previous relationships and guided her through it. But what did he do instead? He took a step back thinking like, you need space. No, she needs guidance, bro. She needs guidance. She needs to be led. Dude, it's like your kid's first time at a playground, right? And you just pat their booty and you're like, go on, little Jimmy, go play. And he's turning around looking at you like, what the fuck do I do? What am I doing here? I only know our living room. You know what I mean? I only know how to play in the living room. I don't know how to play with other kids and on this big ass scary jungle gym and all this stuff. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? And then you're like freaked out when little Jimmy busts his head because he fell off the jungle gym. And you're wondering, oh my God, what happened? Oh my God, what's going on? How is this analogous? Well, when Yasmin is dealing with, high stress and emotions and just, everything that's going on, he's just taking a step back. And then when, she falls off of the jungle gym, i.e. asking for flowers, asking for validation, asking for, his affection and reassurance and all these things, when she's asking for that, well, that's her falling off of the jungle gym. Why? Because he wasn't there to be able to mitigate those feelings. Why? Because this is what he could have did. They moved in together. Hey, let's take this slow. Let's make sure that we're comfortable together. You know what I mean? Just constantly talking to her. You know what I mean? Hey, we don't have to have sex in the bed, nothing like that. Let's just cuddle. Let's just get used to like us holding each other. Like, isn't this nice? Like, see how sweet this is? Like, you feel really soft next to me, and I hope I'm making you feel safe right now. All these things. And for her, that gives her the reassurance, that gives her the love, that gives her everything that she feels she needs, and that allows her to be like, okay, all right, I can do this. I can sleep next to him. I can wake up next to him. Okay, that's great, And they're in their wake up routine, you know what I mean? Hey, babe, Let's make breakfast together. Come on. Let's make breakfast together. What do you want to make? You want to do some eggs? You want to do some, some sausages or whatever? Like I went and bought a couple things that way we can kind of like, experiment if we want to. But yeah, let's make this our thing, and we cook and, you do your thing, blah, blah, and get her. And why are you doing this? Why? Because not every day are you going to cook together. Not every day is it going to be, a perfect lineup situation where you can do those things together. So there's going to be times we got to go to work early. There's going to be times where she's got to go to work early. But it's the simple fact of you're getting her comfortable with the idea of your presence in this lived, shared environment where she feels comfortable about that. And you constantly talk to her like as she's doing something, washing lettuce, or, she's cracking eggs in a pan. You come up behind her, you hold her waist or her shoulders, whatever the case may be. Talk to her over her shoulder. Hey, how you feeling? You good? Everything all right? You know what I mean? He did none of that. He did none of that. And I can see why every single time Jordan met up with the girls, Jordan was just like, oh, well, yeah, it's fine. But like, yeah, I'm not really getting much out of him, and like, you know, he's just not really, you know, present. I don't feel like he's just there, and I feel like it's hard to talk to him, and you know, and all the girls are like, no, you should go and you got to talk to him, you got to tell him these things, you got to tell him that, you know, this is what you're doing and this is what's going on, blah 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 blah. He failed at every point, bro. I was so disappointed in Jordan. And then let's get into the distance thing. Okay. I'm going to be brutally honest. Okay. I'm going to be brutally honest. And I think everybody is thinking it. He's not attracted to her. Okay. He's just not attracted to her. It just is what it is. I'm sorry to say it. He's not attracted to her. Okay. Is it because of her skin condition? I don't know. Is it because of other factors? I don't know. But he's not attracted to her. And you can see it in a lot of the scenes. He's literally like got his hand in his, you know, or he has his head in his hand, and he can't even look at her, bro. In some scenes, he can't even look at her. He's just like, oh yeah. Oh, you know, yeah. Pretending like this is some hard decision for him. Pretending like he's being some good guy by being like, oh, I don't want you to move and I don't want you to have to do that. Oh, your job. When she's sitting there talking about, I will quit my job and I will move for you. The fuck are we talking about? I will move for you. I will compromise. I'll do what I got to do to make this shit work. Like, I thought that was the train that we were on. I thought this was the train we were on. We were going to do whatever it took to make this motherfucker work. And I'm willing to do anything and everything to make this motherfucker work. But for some reason, you are just like, I mean, I get you're willing to do that, but like, why are you willing to do that? Oh, you found a solution to our problem? Well, I mean, there's this other problem. Bro, I'm sorry to say it. He just doesn't find her attractive. Okay? It just is what it is, man. He doesn't find her attractive. And I get it. He doesn't want to say that. He doesn't want to say that because he's on TV. He doesn't want to say that because he's going to get massive backlash. He'll get canceled. Whatever the case may be. I get it, bro. I get it. He just doesn't find her attractive. He doesn't want to say it. He's going to say no 100%, and she's probably going to say yes. Let's just be real, bro, because she's still holding on to the idea. She's still holding on to the idea of like, oh my God, I love him, this is that. I wouldn't be surprised if in the beginning of the weddings episode, they don't even get to the point where they she tries on dresses and he tries on tuxedos. And it's like, I don't even think they're gonna get there. I'm sorry to say it, I just don't. I don't even think they're gonna get there. I think what's gonna happen is they're going to have a conversation, they're going to have a talk, and it's going to be a simple thing of, look, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I thought I could, you know, give you what you needed and give you what you wanted. And, you know, I thought I could be that guy, and, you know, I'm just not him. And, you know, he's going to come up with some kind of excuse. He's going to come up with some kind of reasoning and way or whatever he's going to come up with. And he's just going to feed her a bunch of bullshit. Let's be real. Okay. He's going to feed her a bunch of bullshit. It's going to break this girl's heart, and it just is what it is. I'm sorry to say it. Like, I don't even think they're going to get to the altar. But if they do get to the altar, he's saying no, she's saying yes. That's just what it comes down to. All right. Let's get on to our last couple, Francesca and Joseph. Man, I loved them. They were a pretty good couple. I think that they're a pretty good couple. I think Joseph is a good dude. I think he's very honest. I think he's the type of guy where, you know, he knows, you know, he knows who he is. That nigga, bro. He's just him. He's him. He looks at it like, bro, I got these two beautiful women. They just wrapped around my finger. Like, I'm all about it, but I know I got to hurt one of them, and that really sucks for me. I truly believe he didn't choose Chev. Fuck, I can't remember her name. Chev something. It was Chev. We're gonna call her Sheva. The girls called her Chev, so I'm gonna call her Chev. It's like Chevisha or some shit like that. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. I know. I'm trying to be respectful, but I just cannot remember her name off the top of her head. I just remember Chev. But I think the reason why he didn't go with Chev is because of one of 3 reasons. And it might be all 3 reasons if I'm being honest with you. 1, she's a boss babe. Okay, let's be real, bro. She even came out and said it herself. Oh, guys are intimidated because I make my own money and I'm independent and this and that. And it's just like, dude, I'm sorry. No guy is fucking like intimidated by a woman being independent and having her own. Okay, no guy is like threatened by that. We're not. If anything, we see a woman with an A-type personality. We understand that you're going to be very combative. We understand that you're going to just be fighting us all the time. You know, it's your nature. It is what it is. It's the attitude that made you who you are and the reason you're so successful. And it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a simple fact that I don't want to date a woman that has so many masculine tendencies. It just is what it is. Okay. 2, they bonded more on a physical sexual connection than they did on a deeper emotional connection. And he harped on that. He harped on that big time because it was one of those things where she only really got emotional within their like last 3 dates. And for him, he's like, bro, you went straight to the physicality, and the fact that you went straight to the physicality is a very masculine trait in itself. Why? Because as men, we enjoy what we see as to where women enjoy what they hear. And in what you hear, you know, there's a lot more emotions tied to words as to where there's more lust tied in visual and in looks. And so for him, he looked at it like the fact that, you know, you're just so willing to go right into the sex and that kind of stuff. That also shows more, you know, masculine tendencies, and that this is something where like, once I have sex with you, I'm not really going to care about you on a deeper end. You know, I'm going to have sex with you and then I'm just going to be like, all right, bro, this is all I really want to do with you. This is all I really care to be with you. I don't really care to be anything else. I don't really care to do anything else with you. Like, and that's just what that comes down to. And I think that's kind of where Joseph was in his mind. And I think he looked at it like, I'm not going to do that to her. You know, yeah, like I'm here to find love, to find my wife, to find somebody I want to be together with for the rest of my life. And look, if she can't get deep with me, if she can't, you know, show me that side on her own, then I'm good. I don't want it. And then the last reason I think that, you know, he chose Francesca over her was just for the simple fact that I just think that, you know, she was just far too pushy. You know what I mean? As to where Francesca kind of gave him the space to allow him to just think about it. You know, Francesca came from the viewpoint of like, Joseph, I'm here. I love you. I care about you. I don't want you ever to be misconstrued on how I feel about you. I want you to know 100% I am in this for you. All right. But I get it. You're dealing with another connection. I understand that this is how this experiment is going. So I'm going to give you the space to think about things, to do what you need to do, to figure this out. And you come to me when you're ready. And I got you, baby. I love you. I'll be here waiting for you. And Chev, though, she was the other way around. She was more of just like, I mean, you know, you're kind of missing out on a great opportunity. You never know. Things happen for a reason. I mean, I'm here because, you know, you really, you know, had me this and that. Like, she was just very, very pushy. She never really gave him the space to kind of think about him and Chev. She never really gave him the space. Like, the reason why I think he was like, yeah, Francesca is my priority, and then she's like talking him into it, and he's like, come on, man, why you doing this to me, man? I don't know. I fancy you in it, but I don't know. And you know what I mean? She's just pushing. But then he doubled down and he's like, nah, man, nah. Francesca, she's my priority. I can't do it. Nah, man. Francesca's my priority. I can't do it. And she's pushing. And it puts pressure on him. So now that he's under this immense pressure, he feels like, you look, man, look. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you another date. Can I give you another date? And maybe from there we can kind of see where this thing goes. I can give you another date. And that is where the whole drama and bullshit came from with the whole idea in the last episode where Kira's old bitch ass talking to everybody being like, oh yeah, you know, he's not being 100% honest with Francesca about his relationship with Chev when he was. Like, are you stupid? For one, Francesca knew everything about their relationship. Why? Because Francesca asked about it. Francesca asked, I think on maybe one of their like last dates, she had asked about it and was just like, you know, what is your connection with this other person? How deeply are you guys connected? Like, you know, what's going on with that? Because she was like, I hate to hear you talk about another person and your connection with that other person, but at the same time, I want to know like where I stand. I want to know where I am. And so it's like, and Joseph was honest, was just like, yeah, you know, we connect really well. You know what I mean? We're both religious and we got this going on and da da da. You know what I mean? Like, she's just, you know, she's got a hold of me and I really want to see where it goes. But, you know, I do have you and, you know, our connection is really, really, really strong. And that's what makes it so hard, blah, blah, blah. Like, Francesca knew about all this. That's why when Kira's little plan to get them kind of in the same area together, and that's why they had Joseph was just like, nah, bring her over here, man, because why is she over here saying things that didn't exist and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and that's why Francesca came out the bathroom and was just like, why are you bitches making this into something that it ain't? Like, I knew about their relationship the whole time. Like, Kira, why are you making this out to be something that it isn't? The fuck are you talking about? And it's crazy because nobody pointed her out. I'm like, bro, what? Why is everybody looking at Joseph? Like, no. If anything, it's Kira's old bitch ass trying to orchestrate this bullshit together. And I think everybody watching that was just like, the fuck is she doing? You know what I mean? Everybody was like, bro, what are you doing? You're fucking disgusting. What are you doing? Why are you starting up drama when there does not need to be drama? Chev came and talked to Joseph and they were having a fantastic conversation. Chev was just like, oh, you know, I love your relationship and I'm so glad that you're happy and so glad you made a decision. And I know it was hard for you, but I respect it. And, you know, you guys look great together, blah, 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 this and that. And then her bitch ass comes over here stirring up trouble and this and that. So then Francesca got to come in and she got to, you know, regulate these bitches and put them in their place, which I was like, whoo! You go, girl. Why? Because she stuck by her man. She stuck by her man. I was like, oh, that's wifey, son. That's wifey, son. Oh, hell yeah, that's wifey, son. Why? Because she didn't sit there and take Chev and Kira's side. No, she sat there and was like, you dumb bitches. I'm going to believe what he told me. Because he has no reason to lie to me. He loves me and cares about me. And clearly he's not trying to pin me in some fucking corner that you guys are trying to pin me in. He wouldn't do that. But you bitches are. And that's crazy that you're doing that. You know what I mean? So fuck you and fuck you. And that's why Chev went back to the other girls and was just like, oh, well, what the fuck me for? Like, she was 50 Cent in that motherfucker. What the fuck me for? What did I do? I was just saying that they were great and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then Kira comes over, you know, and is starting all this shit. And I'm just like, bro, because she's a bitch. She's a fucking mastermind, bruh. So again, it's one of those things where, you know, when they got back to their apartment and she even doubled down and further was just like, nah, babe, it is us versus them. Fuck them, bro. They can say all they want to say. They can, you know, say you said this and you said that and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to you and I'm going to see what you said. And I want to hear from you first. You know, just W woman, bro. That was such a master class in how to be a wifey 101. The fact that she was just like, I don't give a fuck what these bitches got to say. My man is who I'm going to believe. That to me was just, it was probably one of the most sexiest things I've seen a woman do. I was like, Joseph, my guy, you got a good one, bro. All right, so my prediction, are they going to say yes? Yes, I can see them both saying yes. I can both see them saying yes at the altar, just because I do feel like they do have a really good connection. I do feel like they get along really, really well. They joke together. They have fun together. They didn't really fight too much. I think any fighting that happened between them was really Kira trying to bring bullshit in, because she did the same bullshit. Okay, she did the same fucking bullshit at the honeymoon. She did the same bullshit when Francesca was like, oh, you know, Kira had met up with Cuba, and they, I guess, had a conversation or whatever, and they said that you said some stuff and blah blah blah, and that, you know, you're hiding things from your relationship with Chev from me, blah blah blah. Like, and he's like, what the fuck, what do you what? Why the hell is she saying anything about me or us or relationship or anything like that? What the fuck is going on? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Look, I didn't hear from Kira. I heard it from Cuba, because Cuba heard it from her. And he's like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. I don't care to hear about all that, man. Like, they're talking out their ass, and you know, and he just wasn't about it. And she was like, okay, hey, is what it is. It's probably some drama bullshit anyway. And again, W womans, bro. W fucking womans. I swear to God, I was like, oh, if this season was anything, it showed that all the women that came onto this show, except for Kira, bro, they all came on with good hearts, with good intentions, and they really wanted to find love. All the guys, look, man, we got what, 3 out of 5, 3 out of 6. If I'm being real with you, you know, 3 out of 6, I guess. Yeah, that's decent. I would argue 2. I'm sorry, 2. 2 out of 6. Taylor and Joseph are probably the only 2 dudes that were on here that really, you know, were looking for marriage and all that kind of stuff. Let's be real, bro. I'm sorry to say, let's be real. You know what I mean? Because it's like, bro, you know, AJ, this nigga's just trying to get clout. Yeah, he is. He's just trying to get clout so he can start his business. Ryan, he's a 50-50. He is. He's a toss-up, because I think, you know, if he was getting physical intimacy in the way that he wants to out of Cuba, I think he would be 100% gung-ho and all for it. Jack, I think, this nigga was just saying what he got to say to get a girl. Let's just be real. He was just saying what he had to say. He found the one girl that was just gullible enough to, you know, believe in and, you know, take all the bullshit that he's saying. You know, let's just be honest. Jordan, he was just kind of one of those fake leaders. You know, he's one of those guys that's just like, yeah, I'm a leader because I was in the military, and then your fucking leadership just was absolutely destroyed. So it's like, bro, a lot of these dudes, I'm sorry to say, they were ass. All right, they were ass, man. It just is what it is. Like, I have no problem dumping on the women when they do something wrong, but I have no problem sitting here and telling the men what they did wrong in this season as well. And a lot of the dudes fucked up in this season. We had 2 out of the 6 at least. You know what I mean? I can see 2 out of the 6 couples getting married. Everybody else is going to either be a yes and a no, or 2 no's. So that's my prediction, man. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. What did you think about, Love is Blind UK Season 3? If you watched it, definitely watch it. If you haven't, you know what I mean? I believe on Wednesday tomorrow is going to be the weddings. If not, it'll probably be next week. But yeah, you know, I'll keep it updated, and, you know, we'll cover after the weddings. So, and see if any of my predictions were true. All right. So I love you guys all. I'll see you on Thursday. I do want to run our ad before we get up out of here. So roll the ad. YouTube.com/membership. Join the YouTube membership, man. We're going to be doing behind the scenes content over there. We're going to be doing exclusive episodes over there. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. Definitely get tapped in on there. You'll also be able to listen to this episode, Tuesday's episode, and Thursday's episode completely early. In order to be able to get the behind the scenes content as well as seeing the episodes early, though, you will have to subscribe to our tier 2 audio listeners. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys have been absolutely killing, and I appreciate it so very much. Coming out every week, hanging out with your boys. watching the episodes, downloading the episodes. I do appreciate that. So keep downloading the episodes as well as rating us 5 stars. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. And subscribing on YouTube. Follow Michael on his socials at Michael the Asshole, and for TikTok as well as Instagram.